Hello everybody, I am back with some more Reddit posts. So I'm starting this back up now that it is getting colder outside. I will not be out in the public as much. So sit back and enjoy. We have some fun, we have some scary, and we have some dark Reddit posts to cover. Today it is about hospitals, so enjoy. So today on Ask Reddit, we have hospital workers of Reddit. What happens there that's hidden, but that we should know about? Not really hidden and kind of minor, but I'll say it anyway. I deliver food to patients and it's not hard to tell when someone is on their way out. Could be simply not being hungry or could be the inability to eat. Had one patient who hadn't eaten anything off their tray for 3 days straight. The last time I delivered to them, they smiled and gave me a wink. Next day, they were gone. It's rough seeing these things happen in real time. I'm a grown-ass man who doesn't cry often, but it always leaves me feeling extra empty picking up the untouched trays and replacing them with another tray that I know will stay untouched as well. So I actually worked in a rehab hospital. Now it's not an actual hospital, so it's not like people are passing away, but I tell you what, it is hard working inside a hospital because the hospital I worked in, there was a lot of patients that had had a stroke or had, spinal cord injuries, so they literally could not move at all. So during breakfast and lunch, I would have to feed a lot of these patients. So I can only imagine seeing a patient, chatting with them one day, and the next day they're gone. That's gotta be tough. Sometimes when people die, we just put on oxygen masks on them and wheel them through the corridors, less distressing for other patients and visitors to think they are asleep rather than seeing a body with a sheet over it. Unexpected, but understandable. Now I'll always wonder though. The hospital I work at has these big square covers. When I first started, I would see transport staff pushing these things around the halls. I thought they were food trays or large boxes of hospital equipment. Turns out it's a structured bed cover, so when they are transporting a deceased patient to the morgue, it doesn't look like a person under a sheet. I didn't even know you could make something like that. But I mean, it's pretty smart. An ambulance ride is not a one-way ticket to the front of the line. You still get triaged and can be rolled right to the waiting room if you're non-emergent. Had a patient check in for a broken toe, red, stubbed, and owie. Got mad that he waited 45 minutes. Full ER, the kind of night where the people in the waiting room should be glad they're in the waiting room because it means they are not actively dying. This guy walked out and called an ambulance to take him from the walk-in entrance to the ambulance bay, where my charge nurse put him in a wheelchair and wheeled him right back into the waiting room. It was beautiful to watch how angry he got. Yeah, dog, you should have just waited, dude. It ain't no broken toe, dude. You just stubbed that thing. Get a grip. Surgeon here. We listen to music in the OR. Most people seem surprised when they hear that. The first song that I immediately think of when I read that is Living on a Prayer. I feel like they probably play that. They have to at least play that once every week, I feel like, during an operation. I'll never forget my time as a student tech hearing shots by LMFAO during a spinal surgery. Dog, a spinal surgery? Shots? Nah, dude, they were getting drunk in there for sure. I'm an ICU nurse. I had a patient who was declared brainstem dead. The family did not want him to become an organ donor, so we withdrew treatment. I switched off the ventilator, pumps, etc., and extubated the patient. A few moments later, the patient displayed Lazarus sign, which is a reflex that causes the patient to raise their arms in the air. I was by no means new to the role, but this really scared me as I had never even heard of it, let alone witnessed it. So I'm assuming they were just like this. Okay, I should not make a joke about it, but I'm just saying, like, were they like this? Like, do you just kind of, I don't know. This happened when my brother died. My mom happened to be holding his hand at the time and all hell broke loose. I took half the family and a nun to convince her he was gone. Y'all had to bring in a nun? But like, it makes sense, right? Like if you see a deceased family member of yours raise their hands in the air, I mean, I would freak the fuck out too. And I'd be calling multiple nuns. So, makes sense. I got a fast bleep. Drop everything you're doing and attend this emergency, please. One night to a side room on the ward to find no patient in the bed. Was just about to leave the room and go back out to the nurse's station where there had been a bit of a hubbub when I dashed past the first time, when something caught my eye. Looked up to a face with wide, slightly wild psych eyes peering down at me from a gap in the ceiling tiles. She was a lady waiting for a bed in the psych hospital who'd clearly thought the ceiling was the best place to hide from the people trying to poison her. Honestly, can't think of another occasion that I'd been quite so terrified. Worst thing was that I had to walk, well, back out underneath her to get help from the nurses and security to get her down. You're telling me this lady was hiding in the ceiling tiles? How do you even get up there? I'm assuming it's one, like you remember at school where you like push that little square up and you can just climb inside, but that's insane, the fact that she went all the way up in there. If you come into the ER drunk, there's guaranteed a pool of bets on your blood alcohol level, possibly with odds if there's a pharmacist available to do the math for us. My all-time high was 0.52. The veteran nurses were shocked by this number and said they had never seen anyone have such a high blood alcohol level. They were also shocked he didn't die. He slept for about 8 hours, woke up, annoyed, then fled. You know that guy drinks often. If you register in the ER and tell the triage nurse that your problem is personal, we know you're here because of something genital or anal related. Edit, a lot of we healthcare workers have seen a lot. If you're not truthful at triage, your care might be less prompt when it's a true medical emergency. It is possible to die of embarrassment. Is that a real thing? I'm gonna screenshot my search on Google and I'll put it up here. You won't believe it, doc, but I tripped and fell on the baseball bat. Now it's stuck up my ass. Come on, dog. Come on. In the ICU, you spend a lot of time keeping corpses alive until their family comes around or their body gives out. Oh, Jesus ain't ready for her yet. Yes, Jesus is ready for her. We're just actively delaying it. People don't want to withdraw care because we shouldn't play God. The decision of whether or not to play God is one we've already made. This person would have died long ago had we not intervened many times over. We've been playing God. The question we need to ask is, what kind of God do we want to be? Merciful or needlessly cruel? Fair enough. Not hidden per se, but for the love of all that is holy, if you insist on bringing your kid into the hospital, do not let them crawl or play on the floor. The amount of literal blood, urine, poop, and vomit that has been on it and hastily, not thoroughly, cleaned up is, well, a lot. The hospital, especially the floors, is not a clean environment. Added to that, think of all the rooms nurses, doctors, housekeeping staff, etc. have walked into. Rooms that have COVID or norovirus or group A strep. We walked into those rooms and those same shoes walked into other rooms. TLDR, hospital floors are disgusting as fuck. I can attest to that. Having worked in a hospital and wiping asses, it's pretty dirty in there. Alright y'all, well that wraps up today's Reddit post. If you enjoyed, or if you didn't, please let me know. And if you could take anything from this video, I would say if anybody goes like this when they're dead, they're probably not alive. Don't hide in the ceiling if you're in the hospital, and don't lick the floor of hospitals. But that's just my advice. Take care.